Please, I'm here to solicit for money to release my boy out of kidnappers' hands. They kidnapped one has been killed. It remains Dr. Abu Babatunde Ibrahim in their den. Please, the earlier the better. Message should assist me. To people whoever has, nothing is too small. Whatever I'm giving, they should please have mercy on me, donate for me, to enable me free my sons from the hands of the kidnappers. They've been requesting now.
Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, please subscribe, like this video and share it so the story can reach other people. What you're about to hear is not fiction. It's not a movie script. It's a real life story that shook families, communities and the conscience of many Nigerians. This is the story of two brothers from Edo State. Both were doctors, both were raised in the same home, taught the same values and trained to save lives. They grew up with dreams that went beyond themselves. From a young age, their parents believed strongly in education. Their father, a disciplined man, always told them that knowledge was something nobody could steal. Their mother prayed over them daily, believing that her children would grow to become men who would serve humanity. The brothers were known to be close, not just siblings, but were friends. When one was weak, the other stood strong. When one doubted himself, the other reminded him why they started. Their journey into medicine was not easy. It involved sleepless nights, financial pressure, and moments of deep frustration. There were times when fees were difficult to pay,
For 100 million.
times when they had to read under dim light, times when they questioned whether the struggles was worth it. But they push on, not just for themselves, but for their families and for the many lives they hope to save. Eventually, their hard work paid off. Both became medical doctors in their community. Their success was celebrated. Neighbors pointed at them with pride. Parents used them as example for their children. If you study hard, you can become like them, people will say. If they were not flashy, they were humble. They focused on their work. Saving lives became their purpose. As doctors, they work in different locations but remain in constant communication. Phone calls were frequent, messages were regular. They shared cases, medical opinions, and sometimes joke about how stressful the profession was. They dream of opening a medical facility together someday, something that will give back to their people in Edo State. It was a future they both believed in deeply. Then came the day everything changed. On what started as a normal day, the brothers set out to travel to a place. It was not unusual for doctors to travel, attend to emergencies, or move between locations for work-related reasons. That day did not feel different. There was no warning, no sign, no feeling of danger. They spoke to loved ones casually, like people who believed they would return home safely. Somewhere along the way, contact was lost. At first, it did not raise serious alarm. Network issues happened. Busy schedules happened. But as hours turned into a day, and a day turned into days, concern began to grow. Calls were not connecting. Messages were not delivering. Phones were unreachable. Anxiety started creeping in. The family became worried. Parents who had always trusted their children's judgment began to feel uneasy. Mothers have a way of sensing danger, and this time, the feeling will not go away. The family reached out to friends, courageous, and anyone who might have seen or heard from the brothers. No one had answers. Then the worst fear became reality. The brothers had been kidnapped. The news hit the family like a thunderbolt. Shock, confusion, fear, disbelief. How could this happen to them? Two doctors, two men whose job was to save lives. The kidnappers made contact. Their message was clear. They had the brothers and they wanted money, a ransom. The amount demanded was described as heavy, 200 million naira. Something far beyond what an average family could easily raise. The family was thrown into panic. Every parent's nightmare had come alive. The voices on the other end of the phone were cold, threatening, unmoved by tears or explanations. The family begged, they pleaded, they explained that they were not rich people, that their sons were doctors, yes, but not wealthy men, that their lives were worth more than money. The kidnappers did not care. To them, it was business. Life had become a commodity. Days passed in agony. Every ring of the phone caused fear. Every silence caused more fear. The parents barely slept. Food lost its taste. Prayer became constant. Friends and extended family tried to help, contributing what they could, reaching out to contacts, and seeking assistance wherever possible. But time was not on their side. As negotiations dragged on, the unimaginable happened. One of the brothers was killed. The news was devastating. A life cut short, a dream buried, a son lost, a brother gone forever. The pain was indescribable. The family was shattered. How does a parent survive the knowledge that their child died in the hands of criminals? How does a brother continue living knowing he survived while his own blood did not? The surviving brother was eventually released. He came back changed, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. Trauma had settled deep inside him. He had seen death up close. He had lived with fear every second. He had lost his brother in the most brutal way possible. His freedom came at the cost of a life that could never be replaced. The community mourned, Nigeria mourned. People ask questions. How long will this continue? How many more professionals must die before safety is restored? Doctors, nurses, students, travelers, nobody seems safe anymore. The case of the two Edo brothers became a painful reminder of the insecurity facing the nation. After the surviving brother was released, his return home was not joyful in the way people usually imagine freedom. Yes, he was alive, but he was broken inside. When he walked into his family house, nobody shouted, nobody celebrated. The house was quiet. The joy of seeing him alive was mixed with the unbearable pain of knowing that his brother would never walk through that door again. The parents looked at him and saw two things at once: their son who survived, and the son they lost reflected in his face. His mother held him tightly and cried like she had never cried before. Not just tears of relief, but tears of grief, tears of unanswered questions, tears of guilt. She kept asking herself if there was something else she could have done differently, if there was a prayer she missed, if there was a way to save both sons. The surviving brother could barely speak in the early days. When he tried, his voice shook. At night, he struggled to sleep. When he slept, he woke up suddenly, sweating, hearing voices that were no longer there. Loud sounds made him jump. Silence scared him even more. He replayed everything in his mind again and again: the forest, the fear, the threat, the moment he realized his brother would never survive. It followed him into his dreams. Survival guilt became a heavy burden on his heart. The family tried to be strong for him, but they were also dealing with their own pain. His father, once a strong and vocal man, became quiet. He spoke less. He sat alone more. Sometimes he would stay into space for hours. People noticed that he aged quickly within a short time. Loss has a way of changing people physically. News of the tragedy spreads fast. Doctors across the country reached with anger and fear. Many of them took to social media to express frustration and the increasing danger they face. Some talk about leaving the country. Others talk about quitting jobs that require travel. The death of one of their own felt personal. It was a message that education and profession no longer guarantee safety. Civil society groups began to speak out. They demanded better security. They demanded action, not promises. Some organized candlelight vigils. Others wrote open letters to government officers. The name of the brothers were mentioned in conversation about insecurity, kidnapping, and the value of human life in Nigeria. The police later confirmed that investigations were ongoing. Statements were released assuring the public that efforts were being made to track down those responsible. But for the family, words were not enough. Promises could not bring back a son. Investigations could not erase trauma. As time passed, another painful reality set in. Life was moving on for the world, but not for them. The surviving brother faced a difficult decision. Should he continue practicing medicine? Hospitals reminded him of life and death. Patients reminded him of his brother. Scrub reminded him of who they both were supposed to be together. For a long time, he stayed away from work. Healing, they said, take time. But time alone does not heal all wounds. When he finally returned to work, it was not easy. He was quieter, more withdrawn. But something else had changed. He became more compassionate. He listened longer to patients. He understood pain in a deeper way. He knew how fragile life truly was. The family decided to speak out, not for attention, but to create awareness. They wanted people to know that kidnapping is not just news content. It's real. It destroys families. It leaves scars that never fully heal. They wanted better protection for citizens. They wanted justice, not revenge. Till today, the question many people still ask remains: could this have been prevented if security was tighter, if roads were safer, if criminals were stopped earlier? Nobody can answer these questions fully. What remains in the memory? One brother buried, one brother living with the pain, parents forever changed. A nation reminded once again of its deep wounds. If you are watching this and you still have your loved ones, hold them close. If you are traveling, be careful. If you are in a position of power, remember that policies affect real lives. This story is not just about two doctors, it's about the value of human life. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like and share so these stories are not forgotten.
Real Crime Chronicles, where every mystery finds its truth. Tap the bell and never miss the next case.